So I always wanted to be a writer, and I had already I wrote my first novel when I was 19. I was still in college, and it gave me like the first real experience of living with a prose narrative, by which I mean like waking up every morning, writing. And I felt at that moment, I thought, if I can make this work financially, if I can pay my bills through this, I found the thing that I want to do all my life. You know, nothing felt more right than that. And
at such a young age, when did you have your moment of epiphany that you said, okay, this is what I want?
That's what I'm telling you about, 19, and then I had to wait till I was almost, and if you told me at that point that I would have to wait almost a decade to be published, I might have been a bit discouraged, but it was like that. I then had failed novels, put books in the drawer. 25, I signed my first book deal. It was published when I was 28, and I'm like been on the run ever since. The first writer I ever met was Salman Rushdie. When I was a 7-year-old child, Salman Rushdie had my mother was a journalist. She was covering Punjab and Kashmir, and she had this very unusual name, Tavleen. It was a name that my grandfather had coined, and suddenly. So we had a period of where we would get death threats from terrorists and things. I had to stop taking the bus to school. It was quite an unpleasant time in our life. And just as it was getting over, my mother hears that in Salman Rushdie's new book, there's a woman terrorist, a Sikh, called Tavleen, who blows up a plane. So she took me like age 7 to meet him in London and to ask that he'd remove this name from his book. And he said, I'm very sorry, the book's already in print, but I'll write you an apology. He wrote an apology, and as we were leaving he said, but don't worry, it won't be you who'll be in trouble, it'll be me. So that was like the first literary contact that I ever had, you know, and definitely left kind of an impression. And so as a teenager I read Salman Rushdie pretty much, and at that point he was very, very exciting because he was also having amazing success, and there was the time of the fatwa. The writer that I probably hold, for me, like the writer's writer, V.S. Naipaul. Like one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most perfect bodies of work that a modern writer has made. The little novels that are like jewels full of humor, where you see the writer just still warming up. Then this comes Biswas, this big achievement. Then suddenly all the innocence breaks and you come into darker territory of guerrillas. You have the non-fiction traveling which begins. You have Area of Darkness. You have Wounded Civilization, Bend in the River. And then like as an older man, this incredible achievement of The Enigma of Arrival, which is just such a powerful kind of culmination of his like interests and talents. And so these are some of the writers that I've admired. Yeah, I think everything's a little easier in those ways. You know, the world that, for instance, Naipaul came into, they didn't know what to do with his material, you know, and I think that now we live in a time that's better prepared. India, for instance, is a real feasible market. It never used to be. The West is better equipped to accept writing from far away, and so no, I think it is easier. Just read all the time, read all you can. Don't even think about writing till you've just read and read and read. And like really, like actually the test should be that if you feel you can sit in a chair and do nothing but read books all your life, and that you would still feel your life had been worthwhile, then like I think you have a baseline.